I guess you could call him a progressive's progressive. He's an outspoken supporter of Bernie Sanders and the founder of the Young Turks. He's Cenk Uygur, and he joins us from his studio in Los Angeles. What's life been like for you during this?
Well, it's difficult for everybody. So I actually had a tooth infection, pretty bad one, and we wanted to get a test just in case. And because of Donald Trump's ineptitude, there are no tests. So everybody's vying for, do you have enough symptoms to get a test? Uh, just this whole thing is filled with madness. And I think the federal government's reaction has been abysmal, and Trump's ineptitude here probably quite literally costing us lives.
How was Trump to know how many tests he'd need? Is that something the president should have known?
Yes, absolutely. So there's a couple of different factors here. First of all, there was a report out a couple of days ago saying that Trump refused to order more tests because he thought if people find out how many people are sick, the stock market will go down more and it might cost him reelection. That level of selfishness is unreal, unacceptable. Look, if we hadn't already impeached him, if the Democrats weren't completely incompetent, that's impeachable right there. I mean, God, he endangers people's lives willy nilly for his own personal benefit. Second of all, other countries have plenty of tests. So we're told all the time about a wonderful private healthcare system we have. Really? Where is it? Where are the test kits? I thought private healthcare solved everything. It hasn't solved a damn thing. Now, Larry, in the midst of all of this panic, what do people turn to? They turn to the government. What happened, Republicans? I thought the government couldn't solve anything. It turns out when people really need help, they're all socialists. And if we had Medicare for all, right now nobody would be panicking because everyone would know not only are their tests covered, their treatment is covered, everything is covered. Instead, we have pandemonium because of the insane system that we have and the total incompetent leadership of Trump.
But other countries with total Medicare for all are also having their problems, aren't they?
Yeah. So the question is, how prepared are you, and how much peace of mind do people have that they're going to get treated? And most importantly, are they going to get treated? So, in a place like Italy, where there's a very large outbreak, first of all, the government acted quicker. And second of all, we might have an outbreak way larger than Italy's. We just don't know because our idiot government can't test anyone. So and I see it with the Republicans online. They're like, "Oh, we have less cases." No, you idiots. We have less testing. We might have a lot more cases. But any country can get swamped. The question is, who's handling the bureaucracy? So they say, well, in Italy, the hospitals are overwhelmed. Here, the hospitals might be overwhelmed soon. But here, unlike Italy, you don't know if you're covered. Now, because we forced the Republicans to say, fine, normally we would bankrupt you just to test you, right? But okay, fine, we'll do one good thing in government. We'll provide free testing. But it is not free treatment. So in Italy, you are going to get treated no matter what. In countries like Austria, where they've done an outstanding job, Singapore, where they've done an outstanding job, where they have single payer, everyone is covered and the government has handled it. Here, the government doesn't handle anything. So you're very likely to get bankrupted if you actually have coronavirus. And if you don't have insurance, we might even let you die. That's the insane system that we have.
Do you like the bill that the House passed and the Senate is approving today and the president will sign?
No, it's abysmal. Everyone involved should be forever lambasted, embarrassed over it. It's exactly what's wrong with our system. It's not just the country that's sick, it's our government that's sick. So Trump apparently demanded, New York Times reporting this right now, Trump demanded that large corporations be exempted from paid sick leave. But wait a minute, the large corporations are the ones that have the best ability to be able to handle paid sick leave. But they're his contributors, they're his donors. So, in his infinite corruption, he decided that he would exempt the any employer with above 500 employees. They also exempted, understandably, employers with less than 50 employees. So, like everything else, it's the middle class and the mid-sized businesses that get crunched. It only covers 20% of Americans. It tells the other 80% of Americans, America is barbaric. We will not even give you paid sick leave, even if you have coronavirus. And by the way, it's not just Trump's fault. Nancy Pelosi, as usual, covered for him. She didn't point out what an atrocious bill it is. Instead, she happily signed it, did marketing for it, and helped Trump to pass a BS bill that doesn't actually help anyone. It's Nancy Pelosi and Democratic leadership 101. They never ever deliver for the voters. All they ever deliver is for their donors. They have the same donors as Trump. This whole government is sick.
How big an issue will this be in November?
Gigantic. So look, the primaries look like they're almost over. If we had Bernie Sanders as the nominee, the Democratic nominee, he would win on this alone. It's so easy to say, hey, under Medicare for all, not only are you covered for coronavirus, you're covered for every ailment. And like the rest of the developed world, we will no longer let you die if you can't afford treatment. That's the bare minimum we could do as a government. The government doesn't have private fire insurance because we're not going to let you burn to death if your house is on fire. We have a public fire department. The government doesn't have private police where we let you get shot to death if there's an intruder because you don't have private police insurance. No, we have public police to protect our lives. The same with health insurance. We should have public health insurance, and especially in the middle of this fiasco, Donald Trump would be incredibly easy to defeat. Instead, it looks like we're probably going to pick Joe Biden, who's also against Medicare for all. Leave it to the Democrats to find a way to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. So, look, Trump is so incompetent and so unpopular. I think almost anyone can beat him, but I'm worried about Biden.
So, from your standpoint, and I know as a strong Sanders supporter, you'll be disappointed if he's not the nominee. But do you expect the party to get together behind Biden, and will the Sanders people come out and vote for him?
Yeah, of course. So, look, some Sanders folks are deeply, deeply frustrated with the party, uh, and they're right in that Democratic leadership despises us. So it's hard for me to rally the troops when, at every opportunity, Democratic leadership punches progressives in the face. Like Nancy Pelosi says, there's no way she's going to do Medicare for all. There's no way she's going to do Green New Deal. There's no way she's going to end the corruption. She's not going to give any fig leaf to us. And so it's hard to get people excited. And it's not my job to get people excited. It's Joe Biden's job to get people excited. I'm not going to do propaganda for him like the rest of the media does. Now, having said that, will I vote for the Democratic nominee over Donald Trump? Of course, that's a no-brainer. Trump is an idiot, incompetent monster. It's you put up a shoe against him, and I'd vote for the shoe. And I think any rational person would. But I'd like to do better than a shoe.
Any surprises in the debate?
No, Joe Biden did a fine job representing his point of view. I was worried that he was slowing down because of age, but he looked fine last night, and so that's a relief. And because I was scared to death that he was just going to bumble just on that alone and lose to Donald Trump, but he looked okay last night, so that's good. In terms of the content. Well, Bernie Sanders is, of course, right, but we have no media to fact check anyone. He said Biden offered to cut Social Security on numerous times. There's no question about that. There's videotape of him saying it proudly on the floor of the Senate and multiple times. Joe Biden was so proud of the bankruptcy bill. Now he claims that he didn't have a part to do with it. That's absurd. Larry, you and I have been around long enough to have been there for the bankruptcy bill. Joe Biden was a huge proponent of it. And he pushed it through. He totally lied about that. Joe Biden's lied 31 times about his civil rights record. Look, we have a giant liar in the Oval Office. No one can compete with him on lies. But why are we picking someone who's known for fabricating things over and over again when Bernie Sanders is arguably the most honest man in politics? Even if you don't agree with his politics, no one would say he's dishonest. And we're giving up that opportunity, or it looks like we might be soon, depending on how the Tuesday primaries go, to pick someone that lies, but not quite often as Donald Trump. But he did it repeatedly last night on almost every issue.
What if this virus lasts into November? Would that delay an election? There's no way to bargain upheaval here. Do you see the possibility we will have a virus still spreading in November?
Well, theoretically, the viruses go in 3 month intervals. So it should pass in 3 months, but I don't know that any theory holds anymore given how novel this is. Now, the Democrats say, oh, yeah, the virus is so bad, we're delaying primaries in Georgia and Louisiana, which are later. Okay, so are you going to delay the primaries that are happening this Tuesday when it is the most important in terms of people not wanting to show up? I mean, Larry, look at how we started this conversation. You said in California, nobody out above the age of 65 can go out. Well, how are they going to vote? But the Democratic Party thinks Joe Biden has it almost wrapped up, and they just want to get rid of Bernie Sanders. So they're like, no, 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 no. We're voting right now on Tuesday, right? But by the way, they might be shooting themselves in the foot. If no one above the age of 65 can go vote, Joe Biden has no chance of winning. That's almost all of his voters. So, like, God, they're so frustrating. If it depends in November how bad it is. Of course, if no one can leave, it's very, very difficult to vote. On the other hand, the very last thing I'd want to do is give Trump any kind of leeway on not holding an election. We already have lunatics like former Sheriff David Clark from Milwaukee talking about canceling the election and just doing it in 2024. Oh, hell no, we're not going to do that. They're not going to. This disease might kill some of us, but it's not going to kill our democracy.